They say miracles come in many forms, but for Rachel and Marco Vargas of Rhode Island, theirs came as 4 identical baby girls, born against all odds, each with her own heartbeat, her own fight, and now, her own crib at home. Meet Sofía, Philomena, Veronica, and Isabel Campos, sisters bound by DNA and a birth story so rare, it occurs only once in every 40 million pregnancies. Conceived naturally without fertility treatment, their arrival is nothing short of a medical marvel. But their path to life wasn't just unlikely. It was perilous. But to truly understand how these tiny lives came into the world, we need to rewind several months, to a moment of quiet shock in a doctor's office, where Rachel Vargas stared at an ultrasound screen and saw not 1, not 2, but 4 little heartbeats fluttering inside her. And not just any quadruplets, identical ones. A natural conception. No fertility treatment. A medical phenomenon that occurs once in every 40 million pregnancies. The Vargas family had just won the rarest lottery in human biology. But with that miracle came a heavy dose of fear. Rachel and Marco already had their hands full with their 2 young children, 3-year-old Walter and 1-year-old Stella. Life was busy, chaotic, and joyful. But this pregnancy was different. Something told Rachel it wasn't just a typical 3rd baby. And she was right. What began as excitement soon turned into a race against time, a journey across the country to find a specialist who could give these babies the fighting chance they deserved. After consultations with local doctors, it became clear this pregnancy was too complex for standard care. Rachel and Marco did their research and landed on Dr. John Elliott, a renowned maternal-fetal medicine specialist based in Phoenix, Arizona. His reputation? Unmatched. His experience? Over 100 sets of quadruplets delivered in his career. Without hesitation, the Vargas family uprooted their lives and flew to Arizona. It wasn't a vacation, it was a mission to save their daughters before they were even born. Dr. Elliott remembers their arrival vividly. Rachel and Marco came in with determination. They knew the risks, but they weren't panicking. They were hopeful, which made all the difference. However, the situation was far more complicated than even they had imagined. 2 of the babies, who would later be named Sofía and Philomena, shared an amniotic sac. This condition, known as monochorionic monoamniotic twinning, meant the girls were at risk of cord entanglement, a potentially fatal situation where the umbilical cords become knotted or compressed. While the other pair, Veronica and Isabel, were diagnosed with twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome, a life-threatening disorder where blood flows unevenly between twins sharing a placenta. In TTTS, one twin becomes a donor, and the other a receiver, causing severe complications for both. Rachel's case was unlike anything I had ever seen, Dr. Elliott admitted. There were overlapping complications, multiple layers of risk. The odds weren't just stacked. They were towering. But through it all, Rachel remained calm. Marco remained steady. Together, they faced each day with cautious optimism, holding on to the belief that their daughters would defy the statistics. On January 24th, after weeks of monitoring and careful planning, the decision was made. It was time. At 30 weeks and 3 days, Rachel was wheeled into the operating room for a high-risk Cesarean section. A team of over a dozen medical professionals stood ready. The air was thick with anticipation. Marco stood beside her, clutching her hand. And then, one by one, the babies were born. Tiny and fragile. It was glorious, Marco later recalled, emotion thick in his voice. Seeing these girls being triumphantly pulled out, it felt like witnessing something divine. Rachel, exhausted but beaming, described an overwhelming sense of relief. I just kept thinking, they made it. We did it. They're here, and they're going to be okay. But the fight wasn't over. For weeks, the girls remained in the neonatal intensive care unit. There were feeding tubes, breathing machines, constant monitoring. Every gram gained, every heartbeat counted. Rachel and Marco took turns sitting at the NICU bedside, whispering lullabies, singing softly, bonding with their daughters through glass and wires. Meanwhile, back in Rhode Island, Big Brother Walter was preparing for his new role. "He's already changing diapers." Rachel laughed. "He takes his job very seriously." Stella, barely a toddler herself, would soon have not one, but 4 baby sisters to look up to. After weeks of fighting, healing, and growing stronger, the Vargas quadruplets were finally cleared to go home. Nurses wept. Doctors cheered. And Rachel and Marco packed up 4 car seats, each one representing a victory over unimaginable odds. Now back in Cranston, the Vargas home is bursting with life. Rachel admits the house is chaotic, but she wouldn't have it any other way. "We've gone from diapers and bottles to even more diapers and bottles," she jokes. "But we're filled with gratitude. Every day is a blessing." The girls are thriving, gaining weight, adjusting to the world, and slowly discovering their place in the family that never gave up on them. What began as a routine pregnancy turned into a saga of faith, medicine, and maternal strength. A 1 in 40 million chance, brought to life through grit, love, and the brilliance of a medical team who refused to give up. Dr. Elliott believes Rachel's optimism played a major role in the success of her pregnancy. "When you walk in with fear, you feed it. But when you walk in with belief, you create possibility." Rachel and Marco created that possibility for their girls. The Vargas family now has 6 children under the age of 4. It's not easy. It's not quiet. But it's perfectly theirs. Their story is a reminder to the world: no matter how steep the climb, no matter how impossible the odds, miracles do happen. Sometimes, they even come 4 at a time.